Hello, and thank you for joining us for another segment of What Women Bring, a closer look, where I have the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with our 2022 What Women Bring honorees, have a conversation, and get to know them just a little bit better. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down one-on-one with community honoree Ilsia Muñiz. Ilsia is the DOG accredited representative with Immigrant Connection. Thank you and welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to really have an opportunity to sit down and talk with you, because when the event happened, you actually were not feeling well. So you didn't get a chance to join us. So for me, this is a double sort of, I get to know you better. And then I also get to introduce you to the What Women Bring participants who did not get a chance to get to know who you are and how and why you were honored. So this is a good chance for us to just tell them about what you do, not only at the Immigrant Connection, but just your life in general. So let's start by talking about the fact that you were nominated and selected as a community honoree because of your work with the Immigrant Connection. So tell us a little bit about what you do there.
Yeah, I'm a DOJ accredited representative. And so what that means is that I have a permission from Department of Justice to be able to fill out immigration paperwork for people. And so we do that at a low cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ministry, a part of the Wesleyan Church. And we truly believe that God loves immigrants and that everyone should have access to affordable immigration legal services.
Mm-hmm.
And so we offer that for people. We help them file their immigration paperwork as if we were their attorneys,
Mm-hmm.
except that we're able to do it at much, much lower rates for them.
That's awesome, because I would imagine that cost could really prohibit someone from being able to get that paperwork done, because I'm sure it's very detailed. There may be a language barrier, lots of issues that you help them overcome.
Yes. I actually worked for a little bit for an attorney, and I was able to see, kind of compare the amounts that are charged,
Right.
and sometimes it's $5,000, $8,000.
Wow.
Where we would do it for, I think one of the highest ones is about $600,
Yeah.
which is one of the ones that takes a lot of work, but it's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, primarily trying to help people that can't afford an attorney.
And you do this in Greenville?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I do it in Greenville, but we do have people call from all over the
Right.
US sometimes that hear about us from friends. And
Oh.
yeah, so sometimes we try to direct people to other sites that
Mm-hmm.
are closer to them. But a lot of times when you gain the trust of a community, they really have faith in you, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to do it with you because they
Right.
heard that you did it with someone else. So
Yeah.
So
how big of a problem is, or how large is your workload? I would imagine it's pretty significant.
yes, it's pretty steady.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty steady. So we do think that there is a great need for more of these sites, especially in these areas that are maybe not big metropolitan cities where there's a lot more resources.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty steady. And I think one of the goals of the national organization is to continue to open up other centers like these.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, you were also recognized as a 30 heroes representing the Latino community by the Hispanic Alliance. How neat was that?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I got nominated this year again as well.
Wonderful.
And it's very nice. And my mom, of course, very proud.
Yes, we got lots of proud mamas. We had lots of proud moms and family members, particularly moms though. So, when I ask people about their awards or even talk about this award, almost all of our honorees are like, oh yeah, that was like the humility that everyone has. And I think that's why I really appreciate the women who are nominated, and the fact that this is a community nomination process. So someone has seen your work or seen your heart and seen how hard you work. Oftentimes they are unsung heroes. And so I really appreciate the humility by which everyone's just doing the work and really putting your heart and soul into it. What made you so passionate about wanting to do this work? I imagine you had other jobs before or did other things. What made you want to go in this direction?
Yeah, I've always had a passion for this, I think from a very young age.
Yeah.
My mom has actually had legal status in this country for many, many years, but I I just felt very drawn to it. I think just being around my community, being around my family, and just hearing grown-ups talk about their immigration stories, and
Mhm.
I was just always very aware of all of the barriers that there were. So I just had this desire that I knew that I wanted to do something
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Awesome. So talk a little bit about your family life. I know that we have a little bit in common. I raised my boys, two boys, as a single parent as well, and all active in the community. How do you sort of balance that?
Yeah, it's tough. I think I had a great example in my mom. She was also a single mother,
Yeah.
and I have two boys. They're teenagers now, and thankfully, the older they get, I feel like it actually gets easier.
It actually does.
Uh,
Then it changes a little bit.
yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. Yeah, it's been really hard. I
Mhm.
can't say that it's been easy. I mean, there's been times that I just gotta go to my room and cry it out, and
Mhm.
just get myself together again. But um, organization, try to keep myself
Mm.
organized, setting boundaries, which I was not good at, and I'm
Mhm.
still working on. And
Yeah.
there's such a great need that you want to be everywhere. Like, I want to be everywhere,
Right.
but I just have to realize that I can't. And,
Yeah.
there's a time for everything, and just keeping that in mind. Like, my boys are going to be this age for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up and they're not going to be around anymore. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do for self-care? How do you keep yourself going? How do you refuel because I know this work can be draining emotionally and physically. You see people sometimes at some of the most difficult moments in their lives, and you kind of can carry that. And then you have two boys to be an example for and to take care of. So how do you refuel yourself? What are some of your ways that you keep it going?
Yeah, I think for me, faith has been a big part of that. I'm involved in my church, and sometimes I just need to go and
Uh-huh.
be with everyone in that community. And I've also tried to do better about taking care of my physical body,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get active a little bit more, just being
Mm-hmm.
outside. I love being outside. I love traveling.
Yeah.
So I think definitely, and journaling. I try to journal too. That definitely, especially when I'm up, just thinking about everyone and everything that I got to do, I sit down and take a few minutes to journal, and that really helps me sleep and, relax.
Nice. I'm picking up pointers. The more of these we do, I'm picking up pointers on
Yeah.
ways that I can also do different things for self care. Tell me about your travel. What's your favorite place that you've been, or somewhere that you haven't been that you plan to visit?
Yeah, I would love to visit all of Central America.
Yeah.
My family is from Guatemala. My mom is. My dad is from Mexico, but I do love Guatemala. I
Uh huh.
love visiting. They have just so many different places you can go to. You can go to see the volcanoes,
Uh
the
huh.
lakes, the beach. Like, there's just a lot to
Wow.
do. So, but I would like to go on a trip of all of Central America and learn a little bit more about the history.
Yeah. Awesome. Where's your favorite place you have been? Guatemala.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah, so
that's
now you
probably
want
my
to go to the rest
yes.
to the rest
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your key issues. So we asked all of our honorees to give us a couple of things that are just really important to you because we wanted to be able to touch on things that mean something to you, that where you have values. And one of the things that you mentioned was immigration reform and rights. And we've had a hard couple of political terms. We've had elections and lots of laws and things that have been changed. So tell me about what drives you as it relates to immigration reform and rights.
Yeah, I think the past few years has been very, very challenging
Mhm.
for a lot of people, especially that don't have legal status. And so um, it's hard because you can get very discouraged to see that there is not more happening
Mhm.
to provide legal status for people that have been here, and a lot of them are really here because they need to be here, or they have fled some kind of situation. And so it's been hard to just keep going. I think one of the things that drives me is my work, because I'm able to rejoice with people when they end up having some kind of pathway to have their legal status. So it just kind of keeps me going, but it is a challenge.
Yeah. Those little successes keep you going. Yeah. I've definitely been there. Now, another thing that I want to know more about from your perspective, but that also is something that's very near and dear to me: anti-Blackness as a result of white supremacy, including anti-Blackness in the Latino community. I wonder if there are folks that would not really understand how that manifests itself.
Yeah, definitely. It's a touchy subject that in our families, no one really wants to talk about, and it's up to us, our generation, and the one to come. I'm very hopeful to change the way we think, and realize that we also play a part in this. And I think because we are also considered a people of color as Latinos, we people tend to think that we get some kind of pass. But we don't. And in our community, it's tough. It's really tough, because I think we don't see ourselves as we don't recognize, or we don't like to recognize, the privilege that we have when it comes to the color of our skin. There are a lot of Latinos that are very light-skinned, white. They're pretty much white. And so it's very hard for them to recognize I am Latino, but I have white privilege because of my skin color. Right. You know, there is no white passing because there is no Black passing. Right. And so that's something that has, that I'm really motivated to learn more about, because I want to make a difference in the generations to come and change this, you know, because it's not just, it's the white people that are, you know, we live in this, and we have to realize what our part in it is. Yeah. It's interesting when, you know, I don't know that people from other cultures understand that we all sort of have, even though we're Black, we face colorism. Latinos have, so there's this within our culture. Oftentimes there's still these biases, or these, you know, different levels of what I would like to call false hierarchy within our community. So thank you for raising that as something that you're working on, and as an issue that hopefully people will, you know, if they weren't aware, will become more aware. Yeah, and I would also add to the erasure of Black people in the Latino community. There are Black people in all Latin American countries, but they have been constantly erased. So yeah, that's definitely an issue to tackle. Yeah. Wow. So you have there's a lot in there, a lot in there, and a lot in here as well. So I want to thank you. And I just want to, you know, as a woman in this, do you face, what's the representation look like for others who are doing this work? Is it mostly women, or are you one of few? There are a lot of women, especially in the organization that I am. There are a lot of women of color, and they're trying to hire more. You know, they realize the value that we have and what we bring, and so I'm very thankful for that. Awesome. Yeah, I think it's been challenging in a way, not anymore, because I've won kind of the trust of the community. But at first, within my own community, for them to trust like a woman, and sometimes they think that I was really young. Yes. So it was just like, I want to speak to the executive director, who's a white male. You know, I want to speak to him, and, you know, but with time that started to change. We get a lot of that with young women, or those of us who were at some point a young leader. They want to talk to the boss. They don't want to talk to this young woman of color. So when you gain that trust, that is definitely important for sure. Well, I want to thank you for coming and talking and getting us more aware of who you are, and also what you do for work. And how can people find
your organization and find you?
Yes, you can find the national organization at icwelcome.org. And you can find us on Facebook, Immigrant Connection Greenville Multicultural.
Okay.
So all of our sites are Immigrant Connection, but we're all over, so we have little different names.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.